Hi. Today we're going to talk about the principles and powers of government and the states. Here we go. First, the executive branch. The executive branch executes or carries out laws. For America today, that is the president. The president is not a lawmaker. He takes the lawmaker's work and makes it happen. That's the first. Then the legislative branch. Legislative branch makes laws. They're the ones that are supposed to make the laws. As a matter of fact, Franklin Delano Roosevelt got in a whole lot of trouble for writing laws when he wasn't supposed to do that. Even though it passed through the legislative branch, he wrote them, and the Supreme Court said, nope, nope, nope. Well, today that has kind of changed because the president does tend to write laws, and if it passes through both houses of Congress, well, it'll become a law. But as far as the legislative power to write laws, legislative branch. So you got the executive branch carries out laws, the legislative branch makes laws. The third kind of power that exists is called judicial powers. Judicial powers is that power to interpret laws, to determine exactly what it was in the word structure that was supposed to be happening. The judicial branch interprets laws, legislative branch writes laws, executive branch carries out laws. Now, not everything government does requires a law to do it. For example, it could talk about taxes, raising taxes, lowering taxes. You don't need a law to do that. Defense, if the military is sent out to another country, that's a public policy, even though there was no laws passed about it. Transportation, emissions for pollution, all that environment stuff is crazy, crazy public policy monsters. Just like civil rights was crazy, crazy public policy monster when it was the 1960s and 70s. All right, now we've talked about the powers of a government. Now, characteristics of a state. What makes a state a state? States are also called countries or nations, but anything that has these four elements is considered a state. Here we go. The first characteristic of a state is population. Population. You have to have a group of people in order to be a state that defines themselves as part or culturally together. The second characteristic of a state is sovereignty. You have to be able to make your own choices. Remember, popular sovereignty is the people choose. A sovereign is the one who chooses, regardless of whether it's popular sovereignty or you have a sovereign. As long as your state is able to make their own decisions, it is considered a state. So the United States does not take orders from Mexico or Canada. That's one reason why we are considered a state or a country. The third characteristic of a state is that it must have very specific borders. You have to be able to draw the line around where their territory is. So they got territory inside that territory is a population who is allowed to make their own decisions. That the three characteristics of a state. We got one more. Here we go. Must have a government. The last characteristic of a state is it must have a government. Now, it can be a legitimate government that was chosen by the people, or it can be an illegitimate government that has snatched power out of the hands of the last government. But as long as there is some type of government, territory with just very specific borders. The country can make their own decisions, and they have a very specific population that they can count. It's a state, also called a country. If it is still unclear what makes a state, I have just given you a very specific definition of a state. Please make sure it gets into your notes. So, where exactly did this idea of a state come from? I mean, really, did it just kind of happen? Did everybody just wake up one day and they had territory, population, government, and sovereignty? How did it? What was the origin? Who created it? Who came up with this plan? Huh? The origin of state is a very controversial thing, and it's actually created wars like the American Revolution. So there are four origins of the states. Hang on just a second. The first theory of the origin of a state, and remember, these are all theories because everybody that was around when government was first created is dead. So we really don't have a true story of how it happened, but we do have theories. And the first theory is the force theory. The force theory says that a big, strong, smart, powerful man, and it's always man, ladies, sorry, rose up and forced everyone to follow him and do what he says. That's a force theory. Next is the divine right theory. This theory says that God created government, and he is the one that placed the rulers in their place, and to defy the ruler is defying God. That's the divine right theory. The evolutionary theory is the third theory of the origin of government. The evolutionary theory says that in the beginning there were groups, and within these groups a man and a woman got together and had babies, and other men and women got together and had babies, and those babies started to uh, have babies with each other. And the family just grew and grew and grew until there were so many in the family they had to create a clan. And the clan was ruled by probably the elder or the wisest in the group, and it got so big that it became a tribe, and then it split off into different clans, and then they come together as a tribe, and then eventually those tribes got so big you had to create a state where you had to draw the borders, you had to create different governments, you had to have a uh, certain amount of sovereignty within each of those different borders. That's the evolutionary theory. It just kind of through a natural progression happened. Finally, we've got the social contract theory. The social contract theory says that things were just so crazy without a government that the people made a contract or a compact with leaders and agreed that those leaders would make laws and protect the people's natural rights of life, liberty, and property. And if the people had their life, liberty, or property violated and government was not doing their job, then the people would remove that government and replace it with a new one. So government promises to protect the people, and the people in return promise that they'll follow the laws that the government creates. That's a social contract theory. It was just an agreement.